Hello folks, my name is Ed. Thanks for tuning into the Job Real Talk. Today's topic is the management Steve Urkel effect. Today's scenario, employees playing one supervisor or manager against another using the what if or what would you do scenario. Lisa has a history of not being in her assigned work area and has received verbal counselings from her supervisor Jill on multiple occasions. Now, her absence from her work area is impacting her productivity and overall work performance. She doesn't agree with the written corrective action Jill issued her during a recent one-on-one counseling session for repeat infractions with this company policy. The next day, Lisa goes to Supervisor Jack, who works in the same department, and asks him, "What would you do if one of your employees was not in their assigned work area?" If Jack simply blurts out an answer like, "It's not that big of a deal," I'd simply give a verbal warning and say, "Please don't leave your work area unless taking breaks or there's an emergency." As they say at NASA when things go wrong, "Houston, we have a problem." Lisa then begins to tell others she's not being treated fairly, and Jack said it wasn't a big deal, but Jill wrote her up. Now Jill is pissed at Jack because he didn't know the facts about Lisa's history and what drove her decision to take formal corrective action. Jack is now like, "Oh snap, did I do that?" Yes, you did, Jack. You ran your big mouth without thinking, and now you're knee deep in the Steve Urkel effect. Did I do that? This creates tension and resentment within the management team, undermining management as a whole. Here are some things to think about if you're ever in this situation. Which, let's face it, if you're in management, you have been or you will be at some point in your career. There are a few noticeable red flags when you're being set up with a loaded question. Red flag number one. Out of the blue, this question is being asked about disciplinary action this employee may have received. Ask yourself why. Red flag number two. This pertains to a violation of company policy, so be very careful how you answer it, if you dare do so. Again, ask yourself why. Why is this person asking me this question out of the blue? Rule number one, never guess at anything or assume anything. You know what they say about assuming. It can make an ass out of you and me and the entire management team. Always make sure you know what the company policy is and how management is supposed to handle it. In other words, trust, verify. Do your research. Do your homework on the company policy and management protocols first. Now, most company policies and procedures and manuals and management manuals, expectations, those things are universal for the most part across multiple work groups and are usually created and managed by HR departments. If different departments have different guidelines, steer clear altogether if you work in a different department than the employee who's asking you the question. Now, if I chose to engage this situation, I would typically respond with, "You know, Lisa, that's a very good question, and not one I can answer without having all the facts surrounding the situation. Many different circumstances come to mind which could influence management's decisions, and it could have influenced Jill's decision." Now, notice, I didn't give my 2 cents on the corrective action nor what I would do in this situation. I simply stated the policy and expectations. At this point, you should realize one of your peers held her or someone she knows accountable for this issue, and she's hunting for inconsistencies within the management group. Never, ever give your opinion. It's always a best practice to pull up the company policy and review it with the person if you want to engage at all. This will simply reinforce the company policy and expectations. After reviewing the company policy, I'd end with something like, if an employee is non-compliant with company policies and procedures and expectations, the company expects its leaders to correct the negative behavior, which reinforces compliance. Now, I didn't go and follow up with Jill and let her know about the encounter and my response, if given. This keeps Jill in the loop and lets her know I had her back, just in case the rumor mill distorts my interaction and response to Lisa, which that will certainly make its way back to Supervisor Jill. This all seems like a lot. But it happens often in work environments where there's multiple leadership in a department. So think about what did I do here? I was approachable and listened to Lisa. I acknowledged her question. I did not give my 2 cents or opinion because it is irrelevant if another member of management held someone accountable for noncompliance. I reviewed company policy and expectations. I reviewed company expectations of its management team and how to handle those type of situations. I did not step on my peers' toes by saying what I would do in this case, as again, it is irrelevant. I kept the management team intact from a unity standpoint by reinforcing Jill's actions and decisions. Additionally, I did not offer information that will be used in the rumor mill regarding management being inconsistent with policy enforcement and an employee feeling she was treated unfairly. As you can see with this scenario, it is very easy to fall into the management Steve Urkel trap. Once you open your mouth before thinking about the bigger picture, you create a big mess. And then you're left saying, did I do that? Remember to always keep your radar on. You can't detect incoming fire without good radar. Your radar is your intuition, your gut feeling, your common sense, and situational awareness. Remember, you're management. You represent the entire company leadership team, and you're tasked with enforcing company policies and procedures and expectations. At the end of the day, consistency and unity within the management family matters. Folks, if you watch many of my videos, you see a common theme of me using certain metaphors to help explain and teach leadership principles. I hear from my followers they really like the metaphoric comparisons which help them grasp certain leadership principle concepts and retain it. A very good friend of mine of 23 years, MAC MCNEIL, whom I interviewed my first The Job Real Talk video titled Your Actions Speak Louder Than Your Words. The link's below. Great video. You got to check that out. He wrote an excellent book using metaphors to share his and other leadership insight. This is a book you can really get into with many different teachings from all walks of life. And I personally have really gotten into this book. And when I say I'm into this book, I literally mean I'm into this book. Listen, Matt asked me to contribute on the topic of accountability in one of his first YouTube videos on leadership. It was an honor and a privilege to contribute on the topic of accountability and how holding people accountable shows how much you actually care for them. This video itself is an example of how a supervisor cared for her employee's job, holding her accountable for not being in her assigned work area. Think about it. If Jill didn't care, she would have simply allowed Lisa to continue being absent from her work area until she was terminated and replaced with someone else. The link to hear Mac interviewing me on accountability is below. I encourage you to check that out. It was a very interactive and funny interview. Also, I encourage you to check out the Golden Girl of Leadership, My Great Aunt Edna by MAC MCNEIL. The link is below for the book and his YouTube channel for more leadership insight. Folks, thanks for watching. If you found value in this video, please subscribe, give thumbs up, and click the bell to be notified when new leadership content is released. Doing so and sharing this video and content with others who can benefit from these leadership teachings will help support this YouTube channel and future content creation. Real talk, folks. Have a great day.